Good day everyone. So in this class we are going to discuss about motor unit. So what is motor unit? So it is a team made up of one nerve cell, several muscle fibers and axons. So these three going to play a role in the motor unit. So one nerve cell, so it is closely attached to the spinal cord and several muscle fibers. These several muscle fibers, it is controlled and connected by one particular neuron and then axons. The axon, it is closely attached to the motor neuron. So these three going to play a role in the motor unit. And this motor unit, it is a basic functional building block of the muscle movement. So in this motor unit, the central nervous system going to use this motor units for the force, to control the force and movement with the help of the brain and the spinal cord. So the motor unit is a team of the one nerve cell, several muscle fibers and axons. So one nerve cell is, it is closely attached to the spinal cord and several muscle fibers is controlled and connected to that particular neuron, and then axons, it is closely attached to the motor neuron. So these three going to play a role in the motor unit. And motor unit, it is a basic functional building block of the muscle movement, and this central nervous system going to use this motor units mainly to control the force and movement with the help of the brain and the spinal cord. So this is the basic outline of the motor unit. Yes. So what are the components in the motor units? As I already told you, one nerve cell, several muscle fibers and axons. So what is the function of the motor unit? So what is the main role for this motor unit? So when a motor neuron is activated, it is going to send a signal to the muscle fibers, and then so what are the muscle fibers in that particular motor unit, it is going to contract at the same time. So this is the role of the motor unit. So when the neuron gets activated, the neuron that going to send signals to the muscle fibers. It's going to send signals to the muscle fibers, and the muscle fibers which are all in the motor units, it's going to contract at the same time. So this is the role of the function of the motor unit. And then muscle strength. So what is muscle strength? So usually muscle is made up of many motor units. So increase the muscle strength, you have to require more motor units to work together. So by this way the muscle will get strengthened. And then coordination. In coordination there is a term called motor pool. So motor pool is nothing but group of motor neurons going to work to control a single muscle. That is what the motor pool. So group of motor neuron, it's going to control a single muscle, and that single muscle is consist of the 1000 to 10,000 fibers, muscle fibers. So this is what the coordination of the motor units. So we have discussed about the definition and components, function and muscle strength. And in this motor unit what will happen is, the force of a muscle contraction. The force of a muscle contraction is dependent, is controlled by the number of motor units activated. I will give you an example. If you are going to recruit a large motor unit, you are going to generate more force. If suppose, if you are going to generate a small motor units, little amount of motor units, you are going to create a less force. So this is what the motor unit. So motor unit is nothing but you are going to control the force and movement with the help of the central nervous system. Yes. So what are the components in this motor unit? Motor neuron, muscle fibers, neuromuscular junction, and last one is motor pool. So nerve cell, it is going to give a signal. When the neurons and the nerve cells get activated, neuron is going to get the signals. That signal is going to pass on to the muscle fibers. So this is what the motor neuron. And then muscle fibers. So every muscle, every single muscle is controlled and connected by the single neuron. And then neuromuscular junction. That is, in the motor neuron, the axon terminal is connected to a muscle fiber. That connection point is called as the neuromuscular junction. And last one is motor pool. So group of the motor neuron, it's going to work together to control a single muscle. So that is what the motor pool. So these four are the components of the motor unit. Okay. What are the types of motor units? So there are three types. One is slow motor units. Next one is fast fatigable motor units, and third one is fast fatigable resistant motor units. So what is slow motor units? So it innervates very small and it is a slow contracting muscles and it is fatigue resistant. So it innervates small, it has slow contracting muscles, and it is fatigue resistance. So it is usually used for the sustained activities, like if you are going to maintain a posture, this motor units is going to use, you are going to use. This is slow motor units. And next one is fast fatigable motor units. So it innervates large and the fast contracting muscles, and it is easily fatigued, and you are going to use this fast fatigable motor units in the name called like jumping or running, that is more force, high force exertions. For that particular purpose, you are going to use this fast fatigable motor units, like for jumping, for running, for these things you are going to use the fast fatigable motor units, which innervate large, it is a fast contracting muscles, and it is easily fatigued. And last one is fast fatigue resist motor units. So it has a intermediate properties, but it generates some more force than the slow unit, but it is not as fast as fast fatigue motor units. So this is what the type of these three are the types of the motor units. Yes. Now we'll see a basic review of the motor units. So first one, motor unit is a three component, that is axon, nerve cell, and the several muscle fibers. And then what is the function of the motor units? The main function of the motor units, it is going to generate a force of movement, and with the help of the CNS system, it is going to control the force and movement by adjusting and recruiting the more number of motor unit. And then what is the role of the motor neuron? This motor neuron, what is going to do is, it is going to integrate the multiple input, and it is going to produce the output signal to control the muscle force. So this is the role of the motor neuron. It is going to generate the input, and it is going to produce the output signal to control the muscle force. So this is the role of the motor neuron. And then last one is, what are the motor neuron features? So in motor neuron features, what will happen is, it is a large and complex cell, and it is supported with the axon. So this is the motor neuron features. And then muscle unit. So what is a muscle unit? The muscle fibers in the motor neuron are called as a muscle unit. So it is going to produce a mechanical force. And then motor pole. So motor pole is nothing but a group of motor neurons. It's going to control a single muscle. So that is called the motor pole. And size and principle is, if you are going to recruit a motor units, it is based on size and principle. So initially you are going to recruit a small motor units, and larger one you are going to require whenever it is needed. And this motor unit is going to work on the joint control and the system behavior. It is like the multiple muscles with the distinct properties. It is going to coordinate and control the joint movement. So these are the basic features of the motor unit. And in this motor unit, what will happen is, there are two types of motor units. So one is precise muscle, another one is powerful muscles. So precise muscle is nothing but, it is a slow, it has a few motor units only. So if it is a few motor units, it has the few muscle fibers. And in powerful muscles, what will happen is, large motor units, so that will lead to a large muscle fibers. So this precise muscle, it is in the eyes and the hands. And large muscle, that powerful muscles, it has the legs and the back. So these are the two types in the motor units, precise and then powerful muscles. Okay. And then how the brain is going to control this muscle force. So it is going to control the muscle by either by two ways. So one is by recruiting, another is by rate coding. So what is recruiting? So recruiting is nothing but, you are going to recruit more number, you are going to activate the more number of motor units. And rate coding is nothing but, you are going to send the signals very faster to the motor units, which is been already working. So these two going to strengthen the muscle force. So how much motor unit you are going to activate, and how much the signal you are going to send the signal very faster, that will lead to a stronger muscle contraction. So this is what the basic outline of the motor unit. So I will just summarize this motor unit. So motor unit is nothing but, there are the three features, three components are there: motor neuron, nerve cell, and axon. So motor neuron is, it is closely attached to the spinal cord, and muscle fiber is nothing but, it is connected and controlled by one particular neuron, and axon, it is attached to the motor neuron. So these three, and there are two types, one is powerful muscles and then precise muscles. So precise muscles is used in the eyes and the hand, powerful muscles legs and back. So precise muscle, it has a very few motor units, that is few muscle fibers, and powerful muscles, it has the large muscle fibers or large motor units. Okay. And then this how it is going to act with the help of the brain and spinal cord, how the central nervous system going to use this motor unit with the help of the brain and spinal cord is either by two ways. So one is by recruiting, another is by rate coding. So recruiting, you are going to activate more number of motor unit, and then rate coding, you are going to send the signals very faster. Okay, and then this motor neuron, what will happen is when the signal, when it is activated, it is going to send signals to the muscle fibers, and that is going to produce a force on the, that is going to control the force and the movement. And in this motor pool, the group of muscles, group of motor units going to control a single muscle. So that is what the motor pool, and this motor unit is going to work on the principle of the size and principle. So what are the size and principle is, initially they are going to recruit a small motor units, and then finally they are going to use the larger one whenever it is needed. So this is what the motor unit. Thank you.